Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast. And this October, I'm reviewing a trilogy of anthology horror films. That's the Horror Stories franchise from South Korea, which is responsible for films that were released in 2012, 2013, and 2016. Now, I already reviewed the first entry from 2012, so tonight we're going to take a look at the second installment from 2013. Now, the general consensus online is that Horror Stories 2 is a step down from its predecessor in terms of overall entertainment value. I do agree with that assessment, but is this still worth watching? We're going to take a look at that. Now, the wraparound segment in this anthology is called 444, also known as Beginning Story, and it's about a psychic who reviews 3 death files in the basement of an insurance company. Now, the department head apparently heard rumors regarding this girl's abilities, and he wants to use that ability to find the truth regarding the most mysterious insurance claims involving death. He suspects that these cases involved insurance fraud, but he was never able to prove it. So he figured that he would use this girl's psychic abilities to, determine it for once and for all. So he takes her into the storage room at the insurance agency to perform the research. Now, since this is the wraparound story, it is developed further in between the other segments. I actually enjoyed this story quite a bit for a few main reasons. First of all, it links all of the other stories in this anthology together in a natural, interesting way because the case files that they are researching are shown as the 3 separate anthology films. I thought that was pretty nice and very natural to link everything together. Second, the resolution is quite fun and also foreshadowed near the beginning of the anthology if you pay close attention. And finally, Seung Lee is the lead actress here. Now remember, there are 2 Seung Lees in South Korea. The one actress, Seung Lee, starred in Couples from 2011, which is one of my favorite romantic comedies. Then there's the younger actress named Seung Lee, although I think they spell their names differently. But the younger actress stars in this film, and also had some really good performances during the mid-2000s in films like When I Turn 9 from 2004, which I also reviewed as a separate video on my channel. So I really like this actress a lot, and it's always nice when she pops up in things. Now, the first standalone story is called Cliff. 2 young men fall from the top of a mountain cliff and land on a small ledge underneath, with no way off. They have only 1 candy bar between them for food supply. So the first thing you're going to notice about Cliff is the shameless product placement for Snickers candy bars. You see the candy bar plenty of times throughout this film, and every single time the label of the wrapper is facing the viewer. Just in case you forgot it was a Snickers bar, we're going to show it to you over and over again. It actually makes things kind of ridiculous and silly, but I don't know. I hope Snickers at least contributed some part to this budget. They contributed some actual cash flow to this film. I'm sure they must have. Now, this is probably the weakest of the short stories in this anthology, and actually it's probably the weakest story in the entire Horror Story trilogy of films. However, I still thought that it was watchable. The fear of being trapped on a mountain ledge is relatable, and there were a few twists that helped to kind of hold interest throughout. Not an especially good film, but I thought it was decent, Now, the second standalone story is called Pain of Death, also called Accident. Now, 3 young women fail their certification examination to become teachers. Now, to cheer themselves up, they set out on a road trip into the mountains, but unfortunately for them, a car accident soon turns their trip into a nightmare, and they experience strange phenomena in the desolate forest. Now, this is a slow-paced, moody, and atmospheric film with a few spooky set designs along the way, so it's the kind of horror film that's up my alley in particular. There's actually some chanting that is showcased at one point, which I liked quite a bit. Now, our protagonists, they're a little bit annoying early on, but that mostly goes away when the crap hits the fan and they have no choice but to get serious. Now, there are also a few slight pacing issues to this one, but it's worth the wait because I think there are some cool moments that are saved for the second half, and the ending does make sense and is pretty good. I would say that Pain of Death is an improvement over Cliff, but it's still not as good as most of the short films that we saw during that first Horror Stories anthology. Now, I would say that the make or break segment that is going to divide viewers in this anthology is the third standalone story, which is called Escape. Now, this is a horror comedy about a student teacher who gets transported into an alternate dimension of his own apartment. He then seeks advice via phone conversations with a beautiful goth chick and her roommates, all of whom are familiar with black magic, which is quite useful here. Now, this story has quite a bit of energy to it, so any possible pacing issues are immediately rectified. Now, this one moves quickly. There are a few spooky sets and oddball interactions between the protagonist and the otherworldly demons, which I liked. There are definitely a few memorable moments in this. This is definitely the most memorable segment of this anthology. Now, there's also a lot of humor in this, most of which I think works pretty well. I would say that the lead actor is hit or miss with his performance because he does occasionally get a bit whiny. However, the lead actress knocks it out of the park. I kid you not, her line deliveries are just fantastic in this. Her comedic timing was spot on too. I really had no choice but to smile or laugh every time she cracked a joke. I really liked her facial expressions a lot too. She has a lot of funny facial expressions. Now, this actress's name is Ji-Won Kim, and she previously appeared in the first Horror Stories anthology as the abducted girl in the wraparound segment called Beginning. Now, I definitely need to seek out more of this girl's stuff, so if I see something else with her in it that's good, I'll be sure to let you know. So Escape is a very odd, whacked out story that could rub some viewers the wrong way due to its tone, but I thought it was a lot of fun because there are many unusual moments in this story. I definitely appreciate that the filmmakers did something so different with this final standalone story. It really helped them mix it up. So, do I recommend Horror Stories 2? Yes, I do, but I only moderately recommend it. I do understand why most people prefer its predecessor, because the first Horror Stories anthology had more scares and tension, took itself a little bit more seriously. This sequel has more quirky humor to it, and one or two of the less impressive individual stories in the franchise. However, I did very much enjoy the wacky final standalone story as well as the wraparound story, and I think that kind of makes a difference to bring it up to recommendable status. So Horror Stories 2 is marginally available on DVD. It tends to disappear for months, only to then pop back up on eBay or Yes Asia. I remember I was looking for this for like 4 or 5 months just recently, and it wasn't anywhere to be found. And then just like last month, it started popping up again on eBay, and that's where I got my copy from. So, just keep looking, and you'll be able to find it over time. And be sure to join me next week when we look at the most recent installment of this franchise, which not many people seem to have seen, Horror Stories 3. Now, all I'm going to tell you now is that it is certainly the most creative and visually striking of the bunch, and I remember enjoying it quite a bit when I saw it earlier this year or last year for the first time. So I'm going to watch it again, see if it holds up on a repeat viewing, and then I'll let you know what I think next week, so look out for that. And as always, I will see you next time.